What is going on, guys? Randallthor19, the man with the million, back again with another daily video. How's everybody's Xbox Scorpio reveal day going? Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you liked all the info that you got. Hopefully you didn't set yourself up to your expectations up too high and became disappointed. So we're going to be talking about all the stuff today in this video. Probably even doing a Xbox 2 podcast with Jazz, maybe some Tim Dog later in the afternoon. But for now, I'm going to give you my quick takes, my first impressions of all this stuff. So it's going to be a rant. Might be a long video. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. This is going to be just me rambling. So anyways, the video I did yesterday about keeping keeping your expectations in check. Man, was I right on the money or what? No Red Dead, guys. No Crackdown 3, no games at all basically shown. Interesting, right? I don't know how people were expecting that in the first place. That's why I made that video. You just needed to keep your expectations in check. We were going to get specs, and oh boy, if you are a spec person, if you're a tech person, then this was a wet dream. Because holy shit, we had 5 articles on Eurogamer explaining everything with in detail about what is inside the Scorpio, 3 different videos, which I watched all the videos, I read all the articles, and let's talk about it. So yeah, the specs. Now listen, I could sit here and I could read off the specs to you guys, but that's not going to do me any good. Because I'm not a tech person. I've said that from the beginning. Nobody's going to come to this channel and listen to me talk about GPUs and CPUs and gigahertz and teraflops and all that stuff. So I'm sure if you want to know what they are, you can go check out Eurogamer, who had an excellent coverage of all this stuff. I mean, I'll have the link in there to the description, and the page I have up is basically the one for Scorpio for noobs, which is exactly what I am, because I'm not a tech dude. So this is the one I really liked. This is the one I'm going to reference. I'm going to talk about some of these things. So basically, you get down to the nitty-gritty of the stuff. The CPU is 30% faster than the Xbox One. The GPU is 4.6 times more powerful than the Xbox One. And it's got way more memory. It's got 12 gigabytes, 4 reserved for the system, which means games have up to 8 gigabytes available, which means the dashboard will be rendered in native 4K. It would also help with the Xbox, the Upload Studio, the game DVR. You'll be able to record clips in 4K 60, which is something that I actually am looking forward to. I probably won't record in 4K. Hopefully there's an option to record in 1080p, which I think in one of the videos he said that, because 4K is going to take up a lot of space. And my computer is a piece of shit, which is why I don't really do any other type of videos than the static image right now, which hopefully I get a better computer and we can do better videos and stuff as it goes along. But that's really interesting. That's something that is important to me. So being able to capture better video is going to be important to a lot of people. So that's awesome. But first off, I mean, this is basically, was Microsoft lying, right? This whole thing. They promised that the system would do native 4K, and did they deliver on it? And I mean, it says right here, so is it as powerful as they said it would be? And yeah. I mean, it doesn't have Ryzen, it doesn't have Vega, it's got a Jaguar, which a lot of people seem to be disappointed in. I'm not one to understand why, but they seem to be just, I think it's a Polaris GPU. People were expecting Vegas. I don't know why people were expecting those things, because those things are way too expensive, and Microsoft is still trying to sell a system at a nice kind of mid-range consumer price. They're not trying to sell a system for $800, $900. They got to sell it to $400. But yeah, it's exactly what Eurogamer said. It's exactly what they said it is. It's a modest evolution. A more modest evolution of the Xbox One unit. And as I read all this info, I got more and more excited. There's a lot of cool things to talk about. And yeah, of course, one of the questions is it more powerful than the PlayStation Pro? Of course. I mean, it should be. It's coming out a year later. Of course, it's going to be more powerful. It's got also the 4K Blu-ray player, or UHD Blu-ray player, which is also a good bonus. And they didn't really see any game running on it per se. They saw a Forza tech demo. Now that's kind of good or bad. So they saw the demo. They get to see how the Forza engine runs on it, which from all accounts, sounds impressive as hell. They were able to port the entire engine, the Forza Motorsport engine, to Scorpio in 2 days, and that really amazed not only Rich, but a lot of people at the Turn 10 Studios. That sounds amazing to me, but like I said, I'm not the one to come to for tech info and stuff. I'm just relaying some of the info that I found interesting in these things. And he says here, yeah, it smashed all the settings, basically. Not all the settings, but it kept 60 frames at 4K, at the 4K textures and stuff. And obviously, it's not a full game, so we don't understand, how, like, Witcher 3 would run on it or any of the new AAA games that were coming out. But we see that at least the Motorsport engine runs well on it. And, of course, they demoed that for a particular reason, because the Motorsport engine is pretty awesome. But the takeaway from it, like Rich says in the articles and the videos, which I really recommend you guys go check out because they're quite good. They have a lot of detailed information out there, is that Scorpio potentially has enough power not just to run Xbox One games at 4K resolution at the same frame rate. It's got power to spare on improving their looks further with higher quality graphics, smoother frame rates, and more. That sounds like everything that we wanted, what Microsoft has promised. This idea of a system that can run games at native 4K, at 30 frames, at 60 frames, but with power to spare. Sounds like the system's not struggling, which is great, because there'll be improvements over the course of time too, and things like that. But right off the bat, I mean, watching the videos and reading this stuff, Eurogamer and Digital Foundry Rich, They seem like they came away really, really impressed. Like, this is like what the PS4 Pro should have been. So what else we got here? We got some, if you don't have a 1080p TV, right? Or if you don't have a 4K TV, I've seen a lot of this going around. I have a 4K TV. I bought one. I got one for cheap this past year for my birthday. So I'm ready to 4K HDR. But a lot of people aren't there yet, right? So the question is, 1080p. Does it do anything for you? And it says, yeah, Microsoft has made a commitment to everybody out there that has a 1080p TV. All game modes must be available regardless of the display that's connected. So even when you're on a regular 1080p TV, you'll still be able to choose between performance modes that makes your game run better, your resolution modes that will then super sample the 4K image down to your 1080p, which should give you a superb image quality, which sounds awesome. Now, this is another thing that I'm really excited about, really pumped about, is this idea of performance modes, right? Because that's one of the coolest features out there on the PS4 Pro, is the idea of like, hey, this is an action-heavy game. I value frame rate more than resolution. I want to play this game at max frame rate settings, not caring for resolution. Or, hey, I'm a graphics whore. I want to see that res. I don't really care about the frame rate stuff. So I'm going to knock this at 4K. So I am over the moon about how we're going to have those modes on the system. Thank God. That makes this system even more appealing to me now than it was before. Like, I understand there's no true exclusives, and I made that video about my problems with the system, but this makes it really worth it in my opinion, because I have a lot of games in my backlog, right? I think I own like 650 Xbox One games, and it's going to get even more. So a lot of those games are going to be improved, and I might be able to even play some of those, maybe not the older ones, but the newer ones going forward, in better frame rate, right? Like, I'm a frame rate dude. I see, like, I have two of my really good friends, Dio and Magic. They don't see frame rates for whatever reason. They're absolutely, like, you call them absolutely crazy, but they'll play Destiny and they'll play Call of Duty back to back or Halo 5, and they can't notice the difference between 30 frames and 60 frames. And I find that ridiculous, because to me, when I go from 60 to 30, I feel like I'm moving in molasses. So I can't wait to kind of screw around with this and play some of those games in 60 frames, even if I'm sacrificing resolution to 1080p. So I'm really down with that info that made it really, hit home for me, because I've been asking for it. That's something I care about. And looks like something else a lot of other people will care about was that Scorpio will absolutely, notice that qualifier there, he said, will run absolutely all Xbox One games better, whether they get patched with 4K Scorpio enhanced modes or not. That sounds pretty awesome to me. So other people out there that haven't maybe played Doom all the way through yet, or you haven't played Mirror's Edge, or you haven't played any of the myriad of games that are in your backlog, maybe that's for the best, because now those games might be better. If they have dynamic resolution from 900p to 1080p, that should bump it up to 4K. And it should give you better, more stable frame rates. Like if it has a lock 30 frames, but it dips down in certain instances, it's like say it's running at 30, but it dips down to 25. Now that should consistently be at 30 frames all the time. That is exciting. That's what I wanted to see. And I'm sure a lot of other people are going to be happy with that. Not even, so that is some really, really good stuff. They're even talking about loading times being faster in some games, which is great because who doesn't want your games to load faster, right? Then they also talk about some backwards compatibility stuff. Personally, I've said this, I don't give a shit about 360 games. I played all the 360 games that I wanted to back in the day. But it's cool. They're going to be improved as well. What kind of improvements will it do? I think they said that it has smoother performance and it'll have no screen tearing, which a lot of people care about. Improved texture filtering, which, like I said, most of the stuff, I don't even know what it means, but it sounds all great. But yeah, the 360 stuff, I don't care about whatsoever. Because like I said, I played through all the games. So it doesn't matter to me at all, one bit. But I'm sure it might matter to you, which is why I'm mentioning it. A lot of people like their 360 games, so that's important. But the big thing here is that it's making your existing Xbox One games better. So the big takeaway here is, they get to the end of the article, so what do you think? And he says, even though they've only seen one demo, and it wasn't an actual real game running on the machine, and software is everything, they're very impressed. And I know Rich is a hard guy to impress. The machine is beautifully engineered, right down to the state-of-the-art vapor cooling system. Now, he talked about that in some of the other articles about how he's never seen this kind of like cooling system used in a mass market console before. Usually it's used in like high-end PC rigs or something. So that is kind of interesting. So he says it's going to keep the graphics processor cool. And he says that, Microsoft is on the right path here. And I even seen some tweets from a lot of people saying that, like, this is, the system by gamers for gamers. Now, of course, when you deal with this type of stuff, specs, you're going to get the fanboys that come out of the woodwork. And I've already seen it on Twitter and other places. Some people are really, hyping up the Scorpio, saying it's going to do X, Y, and Z. And of course, then you have people who don't like Xbox, who prefer PlayStation, saying it's no better than the PS4 Pro. Obviously, the truth probably more than likely lies somewhere in the middle. I mean, it is better than the PS4 Pro, but the question is how much, and will developers utilize the system? Is still left up to interpretation, or not interpretation, but, we have to see that before we can't count our chickens before they hatch. So you have the two extremes battling each other out. It's kind of funny to see. All I know is that I kept my expectations in check. I knew what we were getting, right? No Red Dead 2, oh, would be cool. No Crackdown 3. I don't know why. Did anybody believe any of that stuff? Who started those rumors that you would see gameplay things at this, man? Anyways, I'm excited. I'm excited for the new modes. Right, the performance modes, being able to play in 60 frames or 4K and 30 if I wanted to. I'm excited for my backlog of Xbox One games to get better. I'm excited about the future of Xbox. It sounds like they've made a system for the core gamer, and it's a far cry from Kinect, that piece of shit, and TV. We all remember 2013. It reminds me a lot of the early 360 days when it was all, about the games, which now this is a subject. I've already seen Polygon saying, hey, it's great that you got the specs, Microsoft, but you can't compete with Sony because you don't got the game. So it's already started like I knew it would. You're going to have PlayStation fans say, hey, Scorpio sounds great, but you don't got Neo or Nier or Spider-Man or God of War or whatever. And, games matter. Games will matter. I mean, this video isn't about the games that Microsoft will or won't have. And I will make a video about that in the future because Microsoft definitely has to deliver on the games thing. And now that we've gotten the specs out of the way, right, we can focus on the games. And Phil's talked about that. So now that this is out of the way and they're going to reveal the box sometime later in the month, next month, show it off, get to E3, have the live reveal, do the release date, have the price, but then we can have that entire conference just about the games, because at the end of the day, the games matter most. Two things matter most, actually. It's the games, which hopefully Microsoft has some surprises, because I would love to see them, and it's the price. Now, 2 different times Rich has talked about the pricing of the system, and he believes both times that he basically said he thinks it's going to be $500. Now, a lot of other people I've seen around said there's no way, it's going to be $400. I don't really think $450 is an option. And it's like my video I made a couple weeks ago. I was like, there's only 2 options you can come in at, $400 or $500. You can't go above $500 because $600 is not a good price for a console. Sony tried that with the PS3. They're infinitely more popular back then and almost sunk the company. It sold like shit. Can't do it. And obviously you can't go below $400. So which one are you going to choose, $400 or $500? He seems to think that it's going to be $500. A lot of other people out there be like, well, it's Jaguar, so it has to be $400. It can't be that expensive. So I don't know what to think. It's $400 or $500. Maybe it'll be both. Maybe they'll have a $400 model. But pricing is important if you want to stay competitive with PlayStation, because the Pro is going to drop price at the end of the year to $350 to compete with this. They're just Sony just kind of rubbing it into Microsoft, taking that knife, jabbing it. So Microsoft, if they can get this at $400, that bodes well for the comparison against the Pro, because this is a better system than the Pro. It's going to run a lot of the multi-platform games way better than the Pro does. That's just a fact. And I think some people are scared because the PS4 Pro or the PS4 sold on the basis of the fact that it played multi-platforms better. There's this kind of reimagining or revisionist history of why the PS4 is successful. And it's not because of exclusives. It may be because of exclusives right now, just because there are exclusives. But that necessarily wasn't the case back in 2013 or 2014 or even 2015. And I know games are kind of a subjective experience, but the PS4's superiority is only heightened now because Microsoft's had some cancelizations. Scalebound, Fable Legends, games that are probably supposed to come out during this time frame aren't there, so there's gaps in the release schedule while Sony has a lot of games coming out. But if you are being truthful with yourself, the reason why the PlayStation 4 sold was because it was $100 cheaper and because it played every multi-platform game better than Xbox. So now here's a Scorpio. Sounds like an impressive piece of hardware. Really impressive piece of hardware. Digital Foundry is extremely impressed with it. Rich is impressed with it. And it's going to run all the third-party games, all the multi-platform games, those huge multi-platform games like Destiny, Red Dead Redemption 2, Shadow of War, Call of Duty, Overwatch, name it. It's going to run better on the Scorpio for the next couple years until the PS5 comes out. And there's this line of thinking that nobody will buy it because of that or because they have their PS4. But a lot of people will. A lot of people will pick up the Scorpio because they will want to play those multiplats on the system that will play it most. A lot of people out there, the vast majority of people out there, don't have this allegiance to consoles like a lot of the fanboys do. It's just the truth. It's just the flat out truth. They'll go to wherever plays the multi-platforms the best. So a lot of really, really big, huge Sony fanboys are probably a little bit worried. Now, I'm not saying suddenly the PlayStation is going to stop selling. Of course not. It's going to. It's obviously a product that's in demand. But Microsoft has clearly said, you know what? We're going to be the system that plays multi-platforms best. And there's going to be people out there who don't want to play on PC that'll be like, you know what? I'm going to pick up an Xbox now, and I'm going to play the games on there. And I'll use my PlayStation for exclusives. And then when the PS5 comes out, and if that does PlayStation, you know, the exclusives better, I'll get it on that. You know what's going to happen. Maybe not in large numbers, but it will. So, and then you even think about it, like the Xbox Game Pass that's going to be included. A lot of those games are going to, you know, have huge benefits. You can just pick up Scorpio for whatever price, $400 or $500, drop down $10, have 100 games right there to play that might be that you couldn't play before. So I mean that's probably a different topic for another video, but at the end of the day, I'm really excited. You know, this is everything I thought it would be. There wasn't really any surprises. I got stuff I wanted. So yeah, the first step is the messaging, and I think Microsoft nailed the messaging on this one. It seems like it's going to be a console for gamers. You know, Eurogamer and Digital Foundry are impressed. So, guys, go check out Eurogamer and read all the stuff. It's some really interesting information. I'm really impressed with it all. Can't wait to find out more about Xbox Scorpio. Anyways, later, hopefully I'll be doing a live podcast with my friends, talking about what we all think about this stuff. But for now, thanks for watching this long video. It was just me rambling. I just wanted to get my thoughts recorded. So if you liked the video, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing for more content. And I'll see everybody later.